Hello, everybody. Saintsman here. It's Sunday, the 12th. Looking at my little black book. This is a week in the life of from the 6th. My fuel last week was 152.79, including VAT, obviously. That's UK fast fuel, Texaco card. And my other BP card, went up to 161. So that's the fuel card we used. Yeah, pretty good week. Obviously, I had the worst day I've had on the CX on the Tuesday, but overall, a pretty good week. Um, it was you have to work hard for it this time of year to get them working, but managed to get some. We'll go back to Monday. Monday, I've got a job booked in already, and that was leaving at Northampton, picking up at 7 o'clock in Northampton, going to Chelmsford, Cambridge, and Bluewater, which went all swimmingly. And I was looking for a job then, anywhere sort of Bluewater up, and I managed to get a job from Sevenoaks. It took a while. I was at Bluewater for over an hour. Weren't much about, only going central London. This one was going to North 22, which was fine. Don't mind doing things right up north of London. It's my side of town. The sort of thing. My side of London is north. And yeah, it was one box, and that got me over target for the day. Which my target for the day is a tough one. It's £200 a day. Uh, that's what it is in the summer. In the winter, it's harder to achieve. But a good start. It put me over target for the day, and it wasn't too long a day, just over 10 hours total. And I had a good bit of waiting time on that in Bluewater. And when I'd done the London one, I parked up at the services. I call them Scratchwood services. It's London Gateway, I believe now. But I sat there as well for. I could have been home an hour and a half earlier, really, but I waited there to see if I could get a load for the next day or something like that. But on the Tuesday, I had to go and do some bloods at the doctor's at 9:30, and that really knackered Tuesday up, really. So I couldn't book nothing in before sort of 10 o'clock. And once I'd done the bloods at 9:30, I was out of there at 10, and I got a job from Northampton to Peterborough, which I thought would be pretty good. I'm going to stay local, unless I got a really long job. And Northampton to Peterborough, and I got good money for it. It was 40 mile, and I got £53 on that one because it's a short job. And going to Peterborough, I did think I'd get something out of Peterborough. I've been to Peterborough a couple of times, a few times actually. And when you get to Peterborough, I always park normally at Peterborough Services, which is a good position to go different ways to get a job. And I sat at Peterborough Services for just short of 3 hours. Nothing. I'll tell you what, the van was clean. I cleaned the inside of the van. I thought, well, I might as well be productive while I'm sat here. And nothing. And also, I checked the drivers nearby me, and there was about a dozen drivers. There was three small van drivers, and I think in total there was about 12 drivers who hadn't moved from when I got to Peterborough. Because I checked when I got there, and they hadn't moved at all until there weren't no jobs. There was one job going to Doncaster, which I quoted on, and I quoted on high, thinking if I get it, I'll do it for that, and then I'll try and get someone else, knowing full well I wouldn't get it, which I didn't. So I sat there for nearly 3 hours, and I went back to Peterborough Services, and I'm only 30 mile from home, sort of thing, because my delivery was the other side. And I decided in the end just to run home. Just might as well run home empty, which I did. And that day I did 78 miles in total. 78 miles, and I got 53 quid. So it was rubbish. Worst day ever. But everyone seemed to be having the same issues, and it was just a poor day. I don't know. So suck it up. You're well down on your thing. And then I got a job Wednesday from Wellingborough, and it was for James at no, it wasn't for James. It was a job for a company which I booked with quite a lot, Mick, and it was picking up Wellingborough, going down to just sort of north of Brighton, and it was Hassocks. It was a comms tower which is what James at Freddie Fletcher does a lot of. But this was for someone else. It was for Mick, who I've done work for before, and I got that job. And it's got goodish money on it. It was okay money, and it was in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it was about 12 miles north of Brighton. And luckily, found it okay in a field because comms towers are normally. And it was 2 boxes, and dropped them off. And then I got a choice. I was 12 or 13 miles from Brighton. There was a job from Crowborough up to Cambridge, but it weren't picking up until 5. And now this is like early morning. This is like 10:30, 11:15. So I ain't waiting around 6 hours for a job. So I didn't quote on it. But I thought I need to move from where I am. There is nothing around me. Do I go to Brighton? Do I go to Tunbridge Wells, that sort of way, Sevenoaks, Tonbridge? And I decided I'd head for Tunbridge Wells, which is a little bit further. But I didn't actually get there because in Crowborough there's a Morrison's. You have to go through Crowborough. There's a Morrison's, and I needed fuel. So I thought, well, I'll fuel up here and I'll wait here for a bit. And I'm close enough to there. And what popped up? Brighton to Northampton. And I've done this job for a company before. It's hospital to 2030 labs in Northampton. And I wanted the job. I thought it's no dead miles for me. It's 2 miles from my house, and I wanted the job. But I still quite keenly because there weren't no drivers, small van drivers in Brighton. There was short wheelbase, so I quite keenly, and I got it. And it was a 2 o'clock pickup. Now I was parked up. This was at 11:30, 20 to 12, probably 11:30. And I thought, you know what? Brighton's only 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes away. I thought, that's all right. I'll just run down to Brighton and I'll park up near the sea and wait. I don't mind because I'm going to Northampton. I got the job, and then I got a phone call saying, is there any chance you can pick it up early? Oh, yeah, there is. I said, yeah, I can be there probably 12:30, 21. Brilliant. And I'll give this shipper the do. They sent it through WhatsApp, the directions, a map. It wasn't actually in the main, it was the main hospital, but you stayed on the main road. It was the new building, picking up 2 boxes of samples to go to the 2030 labs. And I got there at 12:25, 2 big boxes of them, loaded it on, and back home to Brighton, back home to Northampton. And slightly over target. I was over target, over 200 by fiver. And I did 10 hours, just under 10 hours, including waiting and all that. Yeah, for February, you take that. So that was that done. And I'd got a job booked in the next morning, which wasn't a mega job. It was a small job, but really good pence per mile for Thursday. So Wednesday was over target just, and Monday was. Tuesday, wash out. So I'm always beyond the 8 ball. I'm never going to get to me 1,000 a week this way, but I'm going to see what we can get. And I picked up this job, I say, picking up 8 o'clock, going to Rugby, from Northampton to Rugby, and I got well over £1 a mile, and it was going right into the centre of Rugby. I've collected from this place before, it's easy pick up, and it was going to meet some fitters in an old Woolworths store, which they're doing up for another store, right in the centre of Rugby. And I got there, and the fitter was about 5 minutes away. So I parked waiting for him and looked at the feed, and there was a job on there, Rugby down to Hoddesdon, which I was only 2 miles away from. And it was pick up in the next 45 minutes. I put a quote on it and got it. And he says, Howler, I says, as soon as this fitter's come, I'm on the job. I'll be there in probably 15, 20 minutes. No problem. And so got that job, and that was the smallest part ever. It was something in a rubber seal for a gearbox for a Renault truck. And that's all it was. It weighed about an ounce. Old money. And I got pretty good money for that. Hoddesdon, if anyone didn't know, it's just north of the M25. I could say the junction. It's on the A10, but it's just off there. Pretty good spot. So I thought that's great. On the way down, just short of there, James from Freddie Fletcher put a job, said there may be a job coming out of London. As any of you guys that are around, able to go back to Leicester. So I contacted him and said, "Well, I'm in North London. I'm going to be there in Hoddesdon, if that's any good, and I could do the job going back to Leicester if it's on." And when I delivered Hoddesdon, I phoned him again. He said it is on, and I'd got to go to West London, West 5 Chiswick, and it was from picking up 4 Porsche wheels and tyres and going to Leicester to the garage to a customer. He was going to the Porsche in Leicester for their customer, and that really helped me out because it was well paid. It was good money. I'd got to travel 26 miles, which was dead miles. And James says, "You all right with that?" I said, "Yeah, because it'll get me to Leicester and that'll get me home," which is good. I don't mind doing that. And that's what we did. He asked for photos once I got to Leicester to say they're all right. God, they're massive. Tyres and wheels. Yeah. And I wrapped all 4 individually in blankets and lay them down two high in the van, strapped them, sent the photos, and all good. Got to Porsche at Leicester, at the top end of Leicester, and yeah, dropped them in. So that made that a really good day. So we're doing okay. And from Leicester, I just drove home. It was best part of 40 mile because I was north of Leicester, but it was no problem. Just trundled home really. And again, that was a good Thursday. So I had 3 good days, 1 complete shite day. But that's how it goes. And Friday, once again, I couldn't do much. I got a dentist at Harper State, and Fridays there's work. There's loads of work, but I'd got a dentist appointment, Harper State. So I thought, don't book anything in just in case you're waiting or whatever. And it's a good job I didn't, because the bloody dentist didn't get to work until 9:15, and I got to see him about 9:05. I didn't get out of there till 9:25, which I'm looking at my phone while I'm waiting for him. There's jobs, but I can't quote on them. Frustration. But hey, that's what it is. Come out of the dentist, you feel rubbish because you're clean and polish and your brushes and stuff. So you're on edge. And there was a job on there from, believe it or not, I was in Northampton. And there was a job there from Wellingborough to Northampton. But it was my side of Wellingborough, and it was 10 miles. And I'd got to go 7 miles back. So it's 17 miles in total. I put on my minimum, which is what it is, and it's for a local shipper who I've done a fair bit of work for, and they phoned and sent it through, said, "You okay?" I went, "Yep," told them where I was, no problem. And it wasn't no problem. That was an easy pickup, 2 boxes from a little print company in Wellingborough, and I delivered to Round Spinney Industrial Estate, which is Northampton, East Northampton, yeah, East. But I'm in Northampton still, and it's Friday, and I've got to get home. Saints were playing and they were on telly at night, so I didn't want a late finish. So I'm pretty restricted now about doing long distance. I'm going to do sort of shorter distance. But just before I finished the job, the same shipper put a job on from Northampton to Wolverhampton, and the pickup was just about going to be in the time frame for what I was doing. So I phoned the shipper who I was working for. I said, "Look, I'm doing the job for you at the moment." And he went, "Oh, of course you are." I said, "I'll put a quote in." He said, "Yeah, I could send it over." I said, "I may be 5 minutes late, and depending how I get home with my tip." He went, "No, that's fine. We'll send you the job." So I got 2 jobs, same shipper, and I was going to Wolverhampton, which is not bad, north of Birmingham, well, west, and it's still not too far from home, and I've got 2 jobs in. So off we went we did the first job, finished it, it went really quick, and I got to the second job 10 minutes before the booking time, and it was a motor company, very famous motor company in Northampton, and it was going to Wolverhampton. I picked up 10 plastic containers that were sealed to an engineering company in Wolverhampton. It was outside of Wolverhampton. It was just by the M54, and then I'm going to sit and wait and think I'm going to need a job now somewhere back. Can't go any further north, nearer my home. And I got the van booked in to have this clutch sensor done. They've had this clutch sensor switch for about 2-3 weeks, and they said just pop in when you're near the area, and it's in Pershore. Pop in, takes us 10 minutes to do it, and it will but don't make go out your way. He said the van's running sweet. It's just the sensors now and again in it brings the engine management light on, takes the cruise control off, but the van runs perfect. So I said to him, well, I'd booked it in. I said, let's do it on a Saturday. Can you do it Saturday morning? And I'll bring the van over. I was going to take the wife. And I booked it in for the Saturday. This is Friday, and I'm in Wolverhampton. And it was booked in Saturday at 11 o'clock. We were going to go, do a bit of shopping, or go and get something to eat, and let them do it, and then trundle back. And it's quite a nice area. Evesham round there, really nice. Stratford on the way back. And a job popped up from Birmingham. Aston, just off the main A38 into Birmingham, going to Pershore. You couldn't make it up. Pershore, nothing happens in Pershore, and all of a sudden there's a job on there too, Pershore. So I quoted on it, and I quoted quite high, because Friday afternoon, no one wants to go to Pershore, because you're never going to get a job out of there. There's nothing happens around Worcestershire, really, South Worcestershire. And I quoted on it, I thought, if I quote on this and get it, I can get that job done, and then go and get the van done, and I haven't got to travel 70 miles on Saturday from Northampton to get it done. Quoted on it, really high, got it, brilliant. It was for a plumbing centre in Aston, and it was going to a new housing estate in Pershore. 2 sinks, tell you what it was, 2 sinks. So, posh sinks, but sinks nonetheless. And yeah, so brilliant. I thought, I can't believe it. Anyway, so I phoned the garage up. I'd already booked it in the morning for the Saturday. I phoned him up again when my van come from and says, look, unbelievably, I'm coming down to Pershore. I said, I've got a delivery to Pershore. I says, where you are? I says, so I kind of just drop the van in there and I'll get it done. And I thought, that'll do me. You know, I ain't going to get nothing out of there. And I was going to get there about 3 o'clock. And he went, yeah, brilliant. He said, that'll save you coming 70 miles Saturday. I said, great. So I took the 2 sinks to Pershore, no problem, down the M5. Delivered them to the new housing estate. And believe it or not, the new housing estate was 300 yards from the garage. It was the same road, just past the garage, just out of Pershore, right-hand side, opposite the industrial estate. And it was literally 300 yards from the garage. So dropped the sinks in. So that's that job done. Went to the garage, give him the keys, sat in the showroom, chatting with the sales bloke, having a sit there, looking for jobs for the next week, really. And yeah, quite happy, got a cup of coffee. And he says, yeah, it takes about 20 minutes tops. 10 minutes in, he comes in. Service manager, really nice bloke. And he went, really sorry, Mr. Webb, the switch they've sent us is the wrong switch. It doesn't fit. So, although I haven't gone out of my way, I have really, because I'm Pershore, I'm 70 miles from home. Although I was in Wolverhampton, to be honest, I was 65 miles from home there. So it's a bit of a pisser, because I wouldn't have took the job to Pershore, but it's the wrong switch, it's the wrong switch. What they've done, they took a picture of my switch, they've ordered the right, the switch, there was 2, and the company sent the wrong one to them. So they've ordered the right switch, and that's coming Monday. Obviously, if I'm not around there, I won't be doing it. So we looks like we might be going to Pershore on a Saturday in the near future to get it swapped over. And funny enough, the engine management light doesn't come on all the while with a switch because it's a faulty sensor. Sometimes it intermittently works and then doesn't, and that happens. 70% of the time it's fine, and it's pain in the arse of the time. Not really, it's just no cruise control. So that was it, Pershore. So I'm now at 3:30, and I've got an hour and a half to go home. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to start making my way up to Evesham, round the back of Stratford, back of Warwick, the A46 to Coventry and down on M45. And that's what I did. And I was looking out for jobs, seeing if anything local. But I wanted to be home, really, no later than 6:30, because the kick-off was on the telly. Saints were away. And I got nothing. So that day, I run back. It wasn't a brilliant day, so it was better than Tuesday. I got 145, 3 jobs, but a lot of dead miles, 70 odd miles at the end of it, which was disappointing, but that's what happens. So that was my week. 3 good days over target, 1 okay day, and 1 crap day. So the total mileage I did was 1,300 miles, all in, for the 5 days. I did 40 hours duty, just over 40 hours duty mileage, duty time. So 8 hours a day. and my driving was 29 hours. And my total was, with VAT, £1,008. Without VAT, it was £840. You had your 20%, it was £1,008. You took off my 9%, which I pay the VAT, which makes it £918, which is not too shabby, to be honest. And it worked out 70p roughly-ish mileage, pence per mile. But it's not too bad. This time of year, the guys on YouTube who I'm friends with and we chat to each other, everyone pretty much has struggled this week. Out of all of us, we've all struggled a little bit. The feed's been all over. It hasn't been consistently strong, and some days it's been absolutely shocking. So, yeah, with the VAT, my money was just over £918. So it's not far short of the grand. Tuesday was a complete washout. I haven't got nothing booked in for Monday. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, I've got a truncated week because I like to have it where I've got a blank week. I've got no issues. I haven't got to get back. I've got complete flexibility. If I want to work a long day or stay out, I want to take something. If it's worth doing, I will stay out because hotels, you can get them at the moment because it's off peak. So there are 30 quid hotels, 35 quid hotels. It's not quite tramping weather for me because I haven't took the bulkhead out, but it takes the opportunity away if you've got to have a blood test on a Tuesday, you've got a dentist on a Friday, and sure enough, next week, Wednesday, I've got to be back for 2:30. So I can do an early start, but I've got to be back 2:30 because I've got go and see the consultant about my eye. This one's glaucoma. This one's 100%. This one has lost a fair bit of sight in it, and they keep an eye on it. And I'm booked in at 3:30 in Northampton. So Wednesday next week again. It stops the flexibility of being out for 2 or 3 days or going long distance Wednesday, but we shall see. So all in all, it wasn't a bad week. Yeah, it's pretty much. But the van's running fine. Got a good clean yesterday. Watched the rugby yesterday, Ireland France. Really good game of rugby. They are way ahead of England at the moment. Well, I've just watched England beat Italy, but they beat Italy, and they did all right. But you look at the pace of the Ireland France game yesterday, fantastic. The Saints game Friday, I might as well look for another job because they got battered by London Irish in some Premiership Cup. Lost by a lot. So, yeah, and today we've been swimming with the grandkids. We've got an indoor swimming pool here, a leisure complex on site, and we've been swimming with the 2 grandkids and 2 daughters. So, all in all, pretty good week. Let's hope you're all doing okay. You got any questions? I did do the tour of the van. It was very amateurish because, as you know me, I don't edit. I just don't. I probably haven't got the technical know-how. B, I haven't got the time. It's just as it is. I don't even go back over my videos and listen to them. What shit I do. It's normally waffle, biffle. But you seem to like it. I've well over 650-ish plus subscribers. If you want to subscribe, please do. It does help. What it does, it gets it to a wider base, like the guys say on YouTube, and more people see it. And it's hopefully going to help you. If you've got any questions, please put them in. I will try and answer all the questions. It may not be within the 10 minutes. It may not be that day. It's when I look at when they come up on my alerts, notifications. So that's pretty much it. I have spoken to a few people this week. A few people, a couple of couriers have phoned me, as in who are working, were subscribed to my channel. They've phoned me and asked me a bit of advice. Hopefully it helps. And see you all next week. So take care.